Hey guys, it's me today. She's gonna be here helping me, but it's mostly me. We're gonna do chicken wings. We talked about it in the previous video. This is everything you're gonna need, and I'll just show you a couple quick little tips on how to get it all prepared and ready to go in your Ninja Foodie. These things are phenomenal. Not just for chicken wings, although they do chicken wings probably the best in my opinion. But these things are awesome. We're just preheating them right now. 390 degrees, we have 2 of them. This is a little bit older one. But yeah, you always want to preheat the Ninjas so they're nice and hot. Otherwise you gotta go 2.5, 3 minutes longer on your first cook if you don't have them up to temp. So you always want to preheat them for chicken wings to get the skin to turn out right. Anyway, you want chicken wings, you want the whole wing, and then I'll show you how to cut that up here in a second. You want an entire stick of butter, a big pan, or bowl, I guess it's not a pan, and you're gonna want, I like to use the Kirkland sea salt. I think this is great sea salt. It tastes great. Granulated garlic, and my favorite pepper. This is the best pepper, Old Thompson brand. And then you'll need some sort of grinder. We like to use these with the arm on them. That's so much easier. You can pick these up on Amazon. I might put a link in the description. But these things are great. They're cheap too. I think they're only like 12 bucks. You're gonna need a really sharp knife that just makes this a lot easier. And something to cut on. Yeah, so I'll be back in a second. All right, so I forgot one other thing. You're gonna need some sort of bowl. It can be plastic, Tupperware, I don't care, it doesn't matter. But it needs to be big enough to put a stick of butter in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw this in the old microwave on very low power. Like ours is a pretty powerful microwave, but we're gonna probably drop it down to like power level 3 and put it in there for about 5 minutes-ish. Just keep an eye on it. That way it doesn't pop and explode and get all over the place, and then you got a mad, angry wife. That never ends well. But anyway, melt your butter, boom. All right, the other thing, sharp knife, remember that? Down here we got our chicken wing. It's real easy, just kind of get it stretched out. If you use your finger, you'll get to where you can just kind of eyeball it eventually, but you can feel the joint right there. And if you get it just right on the joint, just and a nice sharp knife, goes through pretty easy. You can keep those if you want. I mean, they're pretty tasty, just not very filling. There's not really any meat in there. It's mostly just the skin. But if you just want a crispy little treat of skin, go for it.
Or you can keep it and use it for chicken broth.
And yeah, for the chicken broth, that's also, and save all the bones too. We usually put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer. So again, you feel right in here, you can feel the end of the top part of the wing, the drumlet. You can feel right in here, there's a joint. If you get your knife in there just right, boom, look at how simple that was. Really easy. So there's your first 2 pieces. So once you cut them up, now that you know how to cut them up, once you get them all cut up, you're gonna take them and put them in this big bowl after putting as hot as your water gets coming right out of the tap. Just drop them in there. Now we're gonna get them all cut up really fast, get them thrown in there. What we're doing is you want to rinse them, but also bring them up to a warmer temp. You're not trying to cook them, you're just trying to get them pretty warm. That way when we dump the melted butter over the top of them, the butter doesn't like start to firm up and like get all crusty and crumbly all over the wings because they're cold. You have them warm and it stays liquidy, and you can keep mixing them up as you're putting them in the air fryer. So give me a second. All right, so I got them all cut up, as you can see. And this is the first round of bringing them up to temp. So you just kind of move them around in there. Let them get warmed up. They only have to be in there for maybe a minute. You're gonna dump all that water out. And the fastest way I've found to make this happen and go by quick is to make sure you already have your sink faucet running. If it takes a while for the hot water to build up, that way it's already hot and ready to go, and you can dump that water out. Grab the new one, or fresh water, and Go through and do that. Also, on this side, you'll notice that I got water in there. I don't know if you can see the steam coming up. I think you can in the camera. This is hot water, right out of the faucet.
Well, I mean, it's not that hot now because we put it in there a few minutes ago.
Well, it's still pretty hot.
Yeah.
So what you're gonna do, once you're done bringing these up to temp, get all the water dumped out, you're gonna bring these over here. We're gonna lay out some paper towels. I recommend 2 layers on the bottom. Just unroll it and fold it over. And then you're gonna need one or 2 layers for the top, but you're gonna take all the chicken wings, lay them out flat where they're not touching each other on the paper towels, put the other piece on top. Obviously what we're doing is we're gonna dry them out. The more you dry them off, the better the butter adheres to them and helps with the flavor and that nice crispy chicken skin that we all love. So let me get all this laid out and situated and I'll be right back. All right, as you can see, I got all the wings laid out. I got my extra piece that's gonna go on top. So once you get them all laid out like that, you're gonna lay that right on top. You're just gonna go over the top of them like this and just medium pressure with your hand and just kind of go back and forth. They don't have to be crazy dried off or anything, just the bulk of it. Once you get them to that point, we also need to rinse off our bowl here for a second. Okay, kind of dry it out. You want to get the majority of the water out of here and moisture because that doesn't help the butter stick to the wings. So once you get them to there, put this bowl in the hot water. That keeps the bottom of the bowl nice and hot. That way the butter stays melted. That's a big thing when making all this work in the Ninja. You have to keep the butter warm, so you keep mixing it every time you put a new batch in the Ninja. So we're gonna move all these into there, and we got our butter all melted up, ready to go. How yummy is that? One of the things I like to do is I'll put all my seasoning in the butter right before I'm about to dump it over the top of the wings. Get it all in there, get it mixed up really good, let it sit for a minute, maybe 2. It helps the garlic absorb some of that butter and it swells up a little bit and helps with the flavor, as well as the pepper is able to absorb some of that butter and release some of the pepper juices into the butter as well. So you get a really good flavor profile. I don't put that much salt in, and I'll show you here in just a second. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to season your butter and get it ready to go. You're gonna also want something just in the ballpark. I mean, you really can get away with just eyeballing it. There is no specific set amount, but for 1 stick of butter, I'll usually just grab a really full teaspoon on this particular teaspoon measurement. That's all I'm gonna put into that because it doesn't take much because it is already sea salt, Tillamook sea salt butter, which in my opinion, I think is one of the better butters out there. I love the flavor. It is so creamy and salty in all the good ways. So we got that. Then we're gonna do the same kind of healthy teaspoon of garlic. A little bit goes a long way with garlic. Very aromatic as well as flavorful. And here, my peppercorns. Get to see the grinder in action. Want to give her the beans. Want to get a decent little pile. I would say if you were going to measure it out, I would say probably 3 teaspoons, right around there. That pepper really helps with the flavor, and this specific blend of pepper isn't overbearing. It's a fairly mild pepper blend. It just has a phenomenal flavor to it. And just get you a fork or whatever you want to use and go through and stir it up. Get all them juices flowing. That garlic, as you're stirring it, if you look real close, you can see some of that minced dried garlic is starting to swell up already. It happens very quickly, obviously because it's dehydrated. But you're trying to also break up that salt. Get it all coagulated, if that's a thing. Then once you get all that done, you're gonna bring it all over and dump it on top of the wings. Kind of stir it a little bit as you're dumping. You just get her done. Get all that in there. And then from here, it's real simple. You can put on a rubber glove if you want, or if you're like me, you just jump in there and go for it. But all you do is just scoop in from the bottom and flip them over. And just keep mixing them up until you get them all nice and covered. Make sure you're getting them all separated so they're not stuck to each other, but this is where drying them out is gonna help you out a ton, because it helps the butter stick to them super easy.
And if you are eating dairy, you can put some grated Parmesan cheese on these, and it's really good too.
Yeah, it's super good with Parmesan, but we don't do cheese.
We're not doing a dairy right now, besides butter. But yeah, so Parmesan cheese is really good as well. You just sprinkle it on there and get it all mixed up in there.
Yeah. All right, next step. All right, one other tip, get some tongs. I prefer the metal ones, but these seem to do the job all right. I don't know where the metal ones were in at the moment. They're probably out in the camper. So we're gonna take our bowl with all of our chicken, get some of that water off so I don't get yelled at. We're gonna come over to the Ninja. And all you're gonna wanna do is bring these over. Remember, we preheated these. Bring these over and just lay them out. They can just barely be touching each other, but that's fine, because they are gonna shrink just a little bit as we're cooking. And just make one flat layer. And I bet you're thinking, well, you can only cook one layer at a time, it's gonna take forever. It does take a little bit, I'm not gonna lie to you. But I promise, you do this, you will be addicted to cooking chicken wings this way, because they're absolutely phenomenal. Just like that. Wrap this down. We're going to change it over to air fry, 390. I actually prefer 395, and we're going to go 20 minutes. We'll be back when they're done. All right, so at the 7-minute mark on a 20-minute cook on these wings, at the 7-minute mark, you want to open the lid. You're just air frying, so it's not a pressure cook. You're gonna want to grab them and flip them over. You only do this once. You don't gotta watch me do the entire process, but that's all you want to do. Just want to flip these over. Just like that. Close the lid back down. It automatically takes back off and finishes cooking them. We'll be right back. All right, we're to that time, and we're not shameful. We like paper plates. These are the good ones, the really stiff ones. Anyway, they just finished up. Look at that. And if you want a little extra crispiness, leave the door shut, the lid. Leave that shut on there for like maybe another minute after they're done cooking, and the skin crisps up even a little bit nicer. I think they're just fine this way. It's plenty crispy.
Now I eat the drum legs, and then he eats the winglet parts, so I like the drums and he likes the winglets.
Yeah, so that works out perfect. But look at how good those look. And then, if you want to, I know there's gonna be some people gonna say this isn't carnivore, and I don't care. You personally, you know who you are, you can kiss my butt. There's nothing wrong with this. It's not the best. It's not carnivore. You can call it dirty carnivore if you want, but honestly, out of all the hot sauces that are out there, that one's really low down on things that might cause you a little bit of grief. But we use Frank's original. Make sure it's the original. All the other ones have really bad stuff in them. This one here isn't nearly as bad, but if you want to use hot sauce, you can do that. Unless you want to make your own. Or if you just want to complain about me using that hot sauce, feel free to do that too, because I enjoy that stuff. Anyway, there's your wings. Enjoy them. Send us a comment. Let us know if your experience is as good as ours. As far as cooking them in the oven this way, I haven't tried it. I honestly don't even want to try. I just want to use the air fryer or the Ninja Foodie. Go check them out. Watch videos on them before you buy them if you don't want to take my word for it. But those things are worth their weight in gold. It cooks stuff so fast and so good, and it's so tender and crispy and still all the juices and everything in there. So anyway, if you like what you've seen, make sure you click that like button, subscribe if you want. We got more of this stuff coming. Thanks for hanging out. See ya.